It's me, Egbert, once again. I'm the new owner of this station. I went out and hired the best talk radio consultant, Jeff Allen from News Talk STL, and told him to hire the worst talent he could find. Jeff did exactly as I told him. Ladies and gentlemen, here are Brad and John.
John, we normally talk about stuff in state of Missouri, local kind of things, national stuff. Can I give you an international story, which I think is sort of interesting?
Oh, yeah, please do. Smarten me up. I'm not a big international news guy.
You know the big controversy in Spain? Have you heard about this?
No, I don't.
The Spanish people, and I'm not making this up, the Spanish people are protesting against tourists. They are showing up at places where especially American tourists show up. They're protesting them with signs, and they're squirting them with water bottles and squirt guns, and they're saying, we don't want the tourists anymore. Do you know why this is?
And why is that? Why?
Well, the interesting part of this is that it's gotten to be a very lucrative business that people are taking apartments that would normally, apartments and in some cases homes, which would normally be for Spanish people, and they are putting them on Airbnb and Vrbo. And what's happened is the real estate market has gone through the ceiling, and the rental market has gone through the ceiling, where most of these Spanish indigenous people, we're talking people who live in Spain, who are citizens of Spain, they're being priced out of the real estate market. And not only that, they don't like the fact that the areas that they live in some areas are like they claim sometimes 2-to-1 as far as tourists against indigenous, people from Spain, whatever city they live in. So they're protesting, and they want tourism stopped in Spain.
Wow. So no free market. You can't get. Now, I understand here in St. Louis, think of how many problems Airbnbs have caused in neighborhoods where you have someone will rent it, come in, have a giant party, destroy it, and then leave it. But it surprises, I don't know. I don't know whether to be surprised or not. To me, it seems surprising that people in Spain wouldn't want people helping the local economy.
Well, they say the tourists have destroyed the local economy. That's essentially what it is, because of the fact that they said that because of the real estate market, the rental market, and not only that everything's more expensive because, and apparently I don't know what the exchange rate is between. I don't even know what the Spanish currency is, but apparently what it's done is it's made everything unaffordable. And even when you go buy groceries and things like that, things that would normally be somewhat affordable has gotten out of control because the Americans come over. And think about it, you're on vacation, when you're here in St. Louis, you're pinching every penny till Abe Lincoln screams. But when you're on vacation, you got money to throw away. $40 t-shirt,
yeah,
I'll take 3 of those, that kind of stuff. Anyway, okay.
Now, I would imagine if you were a homeowner in Spain, though, and I guess this is the idea between the have and the have-nots. If you own your home in Spain, aren't you happy about this? Because if you're in one of these areas, then the value of your home is increased significantly.
But keep in mind, as you know, especially in a lot of foreign countries, and even in cities like New York, there aren't too many people that own their own home. They're renting apartments, that kind of thing. So in other words, it's to the point where there's the people who are making the money are the property owners, who may not necessarily be the people who actually live there. And they also, that was another part of the article, they talked about that there's foreign interests coming in and buying up the real estate because of the fact, for this very reason. The real estate keeps appreciating very quickly.
So you're going to have speculators, and the argument is you're going to have people that aren't invested in the community, just looking to make a buck.
Right. Okay.
Then you're also going to have people like Brad Hildebrand come that dream about having a pretty Spanish lady throw water on them.
I'm not going to touch that. Okay. Here's a story that I heard yesterday. I thought to myself, this can't be true. So I did my research on it. Okay. I heard this on another station. Jill Biden has her own Hail to the Chief style entrance theme. Have you heard this story?
No, you're kidding me.
No, I am not. Now,
is it Hail to the Caretaker?
Here's the story. This is from the Washington Examiner. Jill Biden apparently has her own walk-up music now. The Marine Corps band was instructed last fall to come up with an entrance theme for the First Lady, a source told the Washington Examiner. The band now is in repertoire an original composition titled Fanfare for the First Lady. And I've actually heard it. It's pretty bad. The song, the source said, is essentially Jill Biden's personal hail to the chief, in that it's to be performed and repeated at official White House functions from her first appearance until she is ready to speak.
Wow.
Now,
and what's her degree again, Brad? What's her doctoral degree? What's the title of it?
She has EDD.
An EDD.
Right.
So could they play just the theme song for Trapper Jill, EDD?
I don't
know. I'm sure the copyright is expired on that, right? Couldn't you just get the Trapper John MD theme and play that?
Right. Fanfare for the First Lady has created both amusement and confusion within the band, with some remarking that in many years they've played in the group, this is the first time the group has had to provide the First Lady with an exclusive entrance theme. Here we go on. Someone in the White House apparently had the bright idea, tell the band that we want music for Jill, the source said. The band had to provide music. The band was rushed to provide the entrance song for the First Lady, the source said, adding the Marine Corps band submitted a few options for the White House consideration. The First Lady's handlers settled eventually on the original piece, Fanfare to the First Lady. Michael LaRosa, Jill Biden's press secretary, says the entire story is bunkum. He says the First Lady does not have a song anybody has written for her specifically. She has no Hail to the Chief song. She has no song, he told the Washington Examiner. She never asked anyone to create a song. The White House asked nobody, not one person, to compose an exclusive entry song or any song for the First Lady, LaRosa added. None of that's accurate. In fact, he said, Fanfare for the First Lady was the band's idea. So now he's saying it wasn't her idea. It was the band's idea.
So somebody's lying.
Right. He said the band approached the White House with a proposal for new music. Fanfare for the First Lady wasn't even initially written for Jill Biden, he continued, adding it's simply a finalized version of a piece of music that was already nearly completed when the band first broached the topic with the White House. In other words, the White House is saying, we never said that we wanted a fanfare, and the band's saying, well, they told us they wanted a fanfare. And he says again, we didn't ask for it. They came and presented us the option. We had no idea it would even ever be used. The Marine Corps band has made a recording of Fanfare to the First Lady to be played in its absence, and you can find it. It's actually online. That's where I heard it yesterday. Though it's not unusual for the group's arrangers to be asked to compose music at a moment's notice, a source told the Washington Examiner it's unusual for the First Lady to have her own entrance theme. The cherry on top, giving the First Lady the Hail to the Chief treatment, the source said, is the music is just awful, and it is bad. The song is terrible, quote, the source said, adding it's ironic, a completely bogus premise should result in such an awful final project. Now get this, the Marine Corps band, which did not respond to the Washington Examiner's request for comment, has performed Fanfare for the First Lady at least twice already, including in October of last year for a Teacher of the Year event held at the White House.
Oh, that's nice.
And it goes on. I mean, can you believe this? I mean, see, once again, there's a reason why Joe Biden is not stepping down. Actually, there's two reasons. One of them's named Jill, one of them's named Hunter. Because
Hunter needs that pardon.
Right. And not only that, but Jill, if Jill is a former First Lady, she won't be on the cover of Vogue anymore. And she can't stand up in front of an announcement or a crowd and say, he answered every question. He answered every question. Wasn't it so great? You know, it's like your mom, oh, honey, I was so proud of you. When you were at the spelling bee, you spelled every word, not necessarily correctly, but you tried to spell every word correctly. I was so proud of you, honey. Right?
Now, will they have to change that theme song when Pete Buttigieg is president? Because it won't be hailed to. I mean, maybe the dude goes by Lady. I don't know. I don't know what their top and bottom situation is. But won't they have to change it, or will he still be able to use it?
Who knows?
I'm guessing Pete's the bottom, right?
I'm not touching that.
We should ask the guy that was interviewed by Channel 4 about the bike lanes. He would probably know. See, what's fascinating to me is that, you and I do this show, okay? And especially you, John, I'm always amazed at the fact that I mentioned something, I talked to that guy yesterday. You're like Mr. Well-Connected, okay? You are like 0.0002% of the population where you know all this stuff, you know what's going on. Most people, it's like watching the old Tonight Show with Jay Leno when he did the jaywalking thing. People don't know who the President of the United States is. They don't know Congress. What is the House of Representatives? They don't know that. What's the Senate? They don't know. What state? Just common questions that anybody who's graduated from high school should learn in civics. Here's the way our United States works. We have a separation of powers, judicial, blah blah blah, that kind of stuff. People don't have any concept of that, and to me, it's like crazy. Now,
Do you want to talk about the Crystal Quade billboard situation?
Yeah, so talk about the development yesterday. So for folks who, if you're just joining us, on Monday, Brad, you referenced seeing a billboard for Crystal Quade that didn't seem to make much sense. You sent me the picture, and then on the air, we discovered that this billboard actually had Crystal's name spelled incorrectly. Yesterday, we revealed on the show that the treasurer of this group, Show Missouri Truth, is the same treasurer for a Deb Lavender political group. Deb Lavender is a progressive state representative from St. Louis County. And then, Brad, and I think the timeline is important because you were with your son. You had a doctor's appointment with your son on Monday, and you weren't able to post the show. You weren't able to get the show chopped up. But I tweeted out the fact that Crystal's name was misspelled on Monday afternoon. And then was that Monday afternoon? And I guess that was Tuesday afternoon. Right?
No. It was the chain of events were I saw it. We talked about it on Monday, and I drive by it from time to time, and I actually pulled off the highway and took a picture of it and sent it to you Monday afternoon. So we talked about it the air Tuesday, and you're giving me credit because you said we. John's the one that discovered her name was misspelled. Was it they missed the T? Wasn't that what it was?
CRYS, yeah. And real quick, and then so also to correct myself here, I tweeted the audio from our show on Tuesday afternoon,
right,
and flagged Crystal in the tweet as I do out of respect to her. And then, Brad, so less than 24 hours after we bring it to Crystal's attention, what happened, Brad?
Well, first off, the reason I picked up on it was, in fact, her name was misspelled. I thought it was a bizarre billboard because first it looked like, I hate to say this, but it looked like, okay, I'm Mrs. Smith, and you're my 6th grade class. I want you to all put together a billboard. There's an election coming up, and as a project, I want you to draw a billboard of someone who's running for an office in the state of Missouri. I'll give you a list of the people running for office, and I want you to put together a billboard of what you would put on that billboard. It looked like a kid did it, where it was
amateur.
Right. It had these goofy, stupid little diamonds on it. First off, it's diamonds. It's crystal, not diamonds. And then it had this, as I called it, you got a kick out of it. You called it the old-timey
brain sandwich.
Right, where I said it looks like the finger pointing to the place that sells the brain sandwiches. Brain sandwiches, that kind of thing. So and not only that, it said, what did it say? It said some bizarre thing like okay, what does that mean?
Her agenda is you.
Yeah, and it has a finger pointing, pointing away from the billboard. Okay, and not only that is her name is not real big on the billboard. Her name is in small type. Am I kidding about this?
Yeah, and it's misspelled.
It's misspelled. Okay, so yesterday, I just by chance happened to buy the same billboard, and they're taking it down. They took it down yesterday and put up a new billboard, which is sort of interesting. So,
and so, Brad, I have their quarterly. They filed their quarterly campaign expense report just the other day, and it shows that they have spent $4,500. I'm guessing that's on billboards. Again, the name of the group is Show Missouri Truth. The treasurer is Katie Magan. And their sole contribution was to the Missouri House Democratic Campaign Committee. They gave $4,500 to the Mohouse HDCC.
Well, but that's not Crystal though. Is that she's the?
Well, she's the House Super Minority Leader, Crystal Quade. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Remember that Crystal is the lead fundraiser. Like Crystal is the star of the show for the House Democrats. Now she's leaving. And she'll be replaced by the woman that we just talked about, which is Ashley Awney from Kansas City.
Okay.
And now, go ahead. And I would just also point out real quick too, Brad, that the groups that are funding this Show Missouri Truth are the Missouri Dental PAC, which gave $2,000 to that billboard, and supporters of health research and treatments gave $2,500 to help support this billboard. So it's kind of a trip to the laundromat. So those groups that maybe they can't give directly to the House Democratic Campaign Committee, they can give to Show Missouri Truth. It sits in the Show Missouri Truth account for a couple months, and then they can launder it back to the House Democratic Campaign Committee.
Okay.
I'm not suggesting that's illegal. I'm just saying that's what
we're running out of time here. Last but not least, I sent you a link to a website yesterday, and your reaction was, "Is this a bogus website? Is this like a?"
I couldn't believe it. It was like a parody.
Okay. Yesterday morning, I'm driving with my son because we're doing some doctor kind of stuff, and I'm listening to 97.1, and I hear this bizarre commercial on 97.1 where the Mr. Big Voice comes on and says, "The worst enemy of Donald Trump is Bob Onder. Bob Onder is, and he talks about Bob Onder is hated by the White House." And I'm going like, no, hold on a minute now. Didn't Trump just come out and endorse Bob Onder? So Mark Cox, this is 97.1, Mark Cox comes on after the commercial and starts talking about this, and he mentions the name of the group. Okay, so when I get to one of my doctor's appointments with my son, I'm sitting there in the waiting room, and I'm finding this group, and I find the website, and I send it to John. It's funnier. It's like the Babylon Bee, don't you think? But
yeah, I think so. And I couldn't tell, but I looked up the contributions. So they give money to campaigns throughout the country.
But this is a slam ad against Bob Onder. But essentially what they're saying is, keep in mind, they're buying time on a conservative radio station, and I would probably be willing to say that most of the people listening to 97.1 have a proclivity to vote for Donald Trump. So in other words, they're essentially saying Bob Onder hates Donald Trump, and Donald Trump hates Bob Onder. So people are going to listen to that and go like, "Oh, I thought I liked Bob Onder. I don't know if I like Bob Onder anymore. I'm going to vote for that guy from Columbia because he might be appreciated by." So in other words, the ad is absolutely, positively, 100% bogus. It's a lie. But once again, I've talked about this. When you get in political season, if a candidate would show up, at my doorstep and say, "Okay, I want to buy advertising time from you," and he would come on with an ad essentially saying, "I want to see, all women naked in public. I don't want to have women have clothes anymore." And
which is ridiculous because at most you want to see 5%.
Right.
Go ahead.
And this is in his ad. "And I want to make it to the point where you can drive 120 miles an hour down 70 from the St. Charles city limits into the city of St. Louis."
And he wanted to use a curse word. Don't forget that part.
Right.
Brad.
And he wanted to say "F you" at the end of the ad, like the old, the classic Anchorman thing. "Hey, and San Diego, not like, stay."
Yeah. And what could you do about that ad, Brad?
"Stay classy, San Diego," instead of "F you, San Diego." I can do nothing because the FCC says I can't alter any ad, and I can't refuse it on the basis of content. I have to say, "Okay, fine, we'll run the ad." And once again, here's a blatantly dishonest, truthless, false, lie of an ad that's running. And somebody paid for this. And when I sent you so funny, when I sent you the website, you were like, "Is this for real? Is this?"
Yeah, I thought it was a parody ad, and because the name of the group is it's something ridiculous, right? It is
Excellence or something.
Conservatives for American Excellence.
Right. Going like, okay.
Which sounds like something you would make up, which is why I asked. And I was driving when I got that text, and when I was safely at a stoplight, Brad, I texted you and I said, "Is this a parody?" I thought it was a wacky parody that Brad Hildebrand made.
Once again, it was, and I heard it again yesterday afternoon. And I'm going like, okay, now here's the sad part of this is, especially in the situation I'm in personally with my son, there's people throwing money around like it's water, when there are people who could use that money for health care, for a place to live, to get their
for yard signs,
to get their car fixed,
and
so they can
billboards,
so they can go to work, But instead, no, people are. It's just like the George Clooney thing. "Hey, come to my fundraiser. Yeah, I know this guy can barely talk and walk, but hey, come and spend $1 million." And then when George Clooney looks stupid, when Biden makes this, drops the bombshell on the people where he's at the debate and he can't put two words together, then Clooney comes out and says, "Oh yeah, he was that bad at my fundraiser." Well, dude, why didn't you step up on the microphone and say, you know what? Hey, all you famous people out there in the audience, I just had a backstage meeting with Joe Biden. You know what? We're just gonna cancel this fundraiser because Joe can barely talk. He can't look me in the eye. He can't put two words together. We don't need a fundraiser. We need a new presidential candidate. No, he's just gonna go ahead and say, yeah, say your money. We need to get. We don't care. You know, it's just like the thing I started the show off yesterday. You can't hear this with. This was here. Let me punch this in so you can hear this.
It's Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah,
right?
the Whoopi Goldberg, where she says,
I don't care if he's pooped his pants.
Essentially, she says she doesn't care if he's weekend at Bernie's. She's voting for him. You know what I mean? It's like how sad is that we've gotten to a point to our country where you have someone, and I'm not making fun of Biden. Let's say the tables were turned and it was Trump who was acting like this. Who would vote for the guy? I sure wouldn't. We got to go, John.
Hey, augustelection.com, folks. That's a better place to spend money. Brad, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah, so far I've gotten zero out of that, but
that's good. Hey, a great way to sell it is to tell people it's not popular and nobody's going there. Way to go, Brad. See you guys Friday.
Thanks for checking out the Brad and John Show podcast. This segment of the show is brought to you by John Combest's book, Stalking, Harassment, Internet Trolling, A Guide to Recovering and Rebuilding After Online Attacks. It's a great reference if you've ever been the unfortunate target of a social media attack. It's available on Amazon. Just search John Combest. That's Combest, John Combest, and the book will show up in your search results. Now it's time for another segment of the Brad and John Show. Can you handle it?